Good morning. Love. Love. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? And yet, every single master that has walked the face of this planet, all had this message of love. What is it? What is it about it? Why is it so powerful? Why? So why love? I'm asking you, why love? Why not? Yeah, why not? Why else? It works, okay? It's a universal force. Didn't hear that. It feels good, okay? Any other reason? So the opposite, hatred, destroys us. Yeah, love it. Anything else come to mind? It's the glue that holds life together. Yes, absolutely. It is. Source of joy? Yep. I'll share with you a little story this week. For the last couple of months, I've been meaning to go get my eyes checked out. In fact, I'd come in here and I'd talk to Jim, and I would tell Jim, I'm like, I'm having a hard time when I stand up front because anytime I go to see something, I'm having a difficult time, right? And so I go in and I have my eyes checked out, and all of a sudden, I had these lenses put on my eyes, and it was like so incredible how clear I could see. And what I didn't realize is because for such a long time I'd been going without this clear vision, I didn't realize just how much I wasn't seeing. And you know, one of the things that's super fun about preparing these talks is the way that Spirit moves through me in these messages. And this was an example of where that happened, because what happened was, as I was thinking about this, there was like this tapping on the shoulders as I was writing this talk where God said, think about that moment, Mike. Think about what happened. What was it like for you when they put the lenses on and you could actually see everything? Did it make a difference? Did it change your perception? Did it allow you to see something that you couldn't see before? Tie that into the message of love. Tie it into it. There's power there. Why did Jesus, why did Buddha, why did the Fillmores, why did every single master that has walked this planet talk about love? Because there's power in it. We have a tendency to think that this little thing called love is so soft and so gentle and so proper. I don't disagree with any of that, but there's an incredible amount of power in it. That's why in the 12 Powers of Man, Fillmore talked about love being one of the primary powers, is because he realized it. In fact, he said, love and divine mind is the idea of universal unity. In expression, love is the power that joins and binds us in divine harmony and universe and everything in it. It binds us. It binds us. So in other words, what it tells me is that when we're seeing through the lens of love, really, and we practice this thing called love, that what happens is we realize the truth is, regardless of what you look like, regardless of what you believe, regardless of what your skin color is, what your sexual preference is, what anything, the truth is, we're all one. That's what love helps us to remember. And when we can remember we're all one, then all of a sudden, everything else out there that tells you and is so hell-bent, excuse my language, on telling us why we're so separate, why we're so different, why we can't trust each other, why we can't forgive each other, why we can't get past, everything the media is out there is trying to tell you it looks past all of it and goes down to the fundamental truth, which is we are one. That's what Jesus was trying to talk about. We're all one. Love each other. Fillmore also said it insists that all is good, and by refusing to see anything but good, it causes that quality finally to appear uppermost in itself and in all things. When you stand in a spot and you understand that no matter what it looks like, no matter what is going on, that God is in the middle of it, that love is in the middle of it, what you are doing is you're tapping into something that every single one of us has within us, and it allows us to acknowledge what's going on, and by doing that, we bring it to life. So in other words, we're calling it forth in the moment of what's going on. But that comes from us. In other words, we have to acknowledge it. It's like we have to look at it and say, you know what, I know. I may not be able to see it. I may not fully understand it. It's okay. That's okay. But I'm going to call it forth. So in the middle of it, I'm still going to call that which is within me, that piece of my divinity, my spirit. I'm going to acknowledge where I came from in this moment now, even if I can't see it, because I know it's here. I know it's here. And I'm just going to relax, and I'm going to trust. And by calling it forth, what happens is it just unfolds. Why? Because of who and what you are. A piece of the divine. And when that piece, when you can look at something and say, I know you're here. You have to be here. Guess what happens? Everything changes. And they knew it. And the masters knew it. They knew that all they had to do was acknowledge that divinity in the moment. And by them acknowledging it, it came to life. It had no choice because of who and what they are. And they absolutely knew it. And they did it time and time and time again. Because they knew, no matter what, that love is there, no matter what. No matter what the newspapers try and tell you, no matter what the political parties try and say that, you shouldn't like this other people because of, all that other garbage. They knew that it was there. And they refused to back off of that. Refused to back off of that understanding. Ernest Holmes says, love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be ignored. To the extent that we abandon love, we will feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of past history and begin again. Love heals, love forgives, and makes whole. And I'm just going to say this again. Denying love is our only problem. That's it. It's our only problem. And embracing it is the only answer. Why? Because the truth is, love is who we are. And when we deny love, what we're doing, if you think about it, we're denying who and what we are. It's simple. That's the only problem. And now we've got the answer. Just acknowledge that it's love. Time and time and time, we've got very special people that come down here and try to remind us of the simple, 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 powerful, powerful truth. When Paul in 1 Corinthians talked about it, we say, well, okay, Mike, this sounds great, but how do I know, right? Well, Paul kind of gave us some clues. Love is patient. Love is kind. It's not envious. It does not boast. It's not proud. It's not rude. It's not self-seeking. It's not easily angered, forgives, rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. And I put in the last one. Because in my opinion, what I notice is when I'm coming and I'm seeing through the right lenses, and I'm seeing through love, that I just can acknowledge and I accept what is. In other words, I don't resist it. There's no resistance. I'm just sitting there going like, oh, this is what's going on. Okay, cool, got it. I can handle this. I accept it. So that's what's going on. I don't know if you guys saw the story or not. Tragic story about a police officer named Amber Geiger. You guys know the story? Happened is down in Texas. Unfortunately, she's a police officer. She came home one night and tragically walked into the wrong apartment. She thought it was hers. It was dark. She couldn't see. She saw somebody moving. She thought they were a burglar and tragically shot and killed. Brotham Jean is a gentleman's name. Horrible story. Horrible. And last week she was convicted of murder. God's always there. God's always there. And I want to play a clip of Botham's brother, Brant, at the hearing.
I don't want to say twice or for the 100th time what you've or how much you've taken from us. I think you know that. But I hope you go to God with all the guilt, the bad things you may have done in the past. Each and every one of us may have done something that we're not supposed to do. If you truly are sorry, I know I can speak for myself. I forgive you. And I know if you go to God and ask Him, He will forgive you. And I don't think anyone could say it. Again, I'm speaking for myself, not even bad for my family. But I love you just like anyone else. And I'm not gonna say I hope you rot and die just like my brother did, but I personally want the best for you. And I wasn't gonna ever say this in front of my family or anyone, but I don't even want you to go to jail. I want the best for you. Because I know that's exactly what both of them would want you to do. And the best would be give your life to Christ. I'm not gonna say anything else. I think giving your life to Christ would be the best thing that both of them would want you to do. Again, I love you as a person. And I don't wish anything bad on you. I don't know if this is possible, but can I give her a hug, please? Please?
Yes.
Love changes everything. It changes everything. It takes a situation that is absolutely tragic and gives us an opportunity to come together as a humanity and to share and embrace each other in a moment like that because of love. Quietly, powerfully, and the ripple effect of that moment, in my opinion, changes us. It changes us. I can't watch. The first time I saw that thing, I like doing what you guys are doing, right? It's moving. Why? Because we're accessing something, quite frankly, that we're not taught how to access. This power, this current that Fillmore talked about. It's this love current. And yet we're brought up and we're just busy figuring out life, you know? And we don't understand that this thing called love can make such a huge impact in moments when we need it the most. And we forget because we don't practice. And we also don't realize that there's this power behind it. And we don't even really know how to practice it because we're not taught how to do it. So I want to just spend a few minutes talking about that. Course in Miracles, how many Course in Miracles people do we have here? I know a handful. Every expression you make is either an expression of love or an expression of fear. An expression of love, an expression of who and what you are. We already figured that one out this morning. Or fear, who you are not. There is no other choice. What I love about that, number one, is it says you have a choice. So if you want to, you can look through the lens of love if that's what you choose to do. You can look through those lenses, or you don't have to. Now, once you start playing with this thing, what will come to mind is, well, how can I tell? I have a little insight for you. You know how you can tell? Anybody? How can you tell? You feel better. I think you're really, really close, Jim. In fact, I'd give you the golden star. You feel it. You can feel it. Did you guys feel what was going on? Did you feel that? Was that palpable for you? It was for me. And I'm telling you, love is like that. It's powerful. You can feel it. So on one hand, you're standing over here and you decide, I'm going to look through the lens of love and I'm going to use love. And you feel it. On the other hand, I'm going to stand over here in fear. Question for you. Can you feel when you're in fear? Oh, yeah. Feel a little bit differently? Oh, yeah. So, what can you do about that? Well, how about start paying attention to the way that you feel? How about sitting back and actually going, you know what, I got a choice in this moment. I can choose to see through the lens of love, or I could step over here and choose fear. In all the different parts that fear takes. All the different masks is what I would call them. Because fear has a lot of different masks, doesn't it? Doesn't fear have a lot of different masks? Yeah, what are some of those masks? Anger. Paranoid. Resistance. Depression. Jealousy. Bravado. Envy. Judgment. Hatred. What's that? Resentment. Yeah. Anxiety. So fear has a lot of different masks, right? It's all fear. It's all fear trying to tell us that we're separate, we're not one. That's the only way that we have. That's the only option we can choose. That's the only thing we can come up with is we've got to go this way. Why? Because we see it all the time. We hear it all the time. We've witnessed it our entire lives, and we think it's the only choice that we have, and the truth is, it's not. And my hope and prayer for you today as you sit here and you walk out these doors is you silently go, wow, you mean to tell me there really is this thing called love? It really is super powerful? It really is amazing? When I do it, I'm connecting with my divinity? You mean to tell me that I can sit here in this moment, right here, right now, I can connect with God and make a difference in this moment in my life by just using this simple thing called love? Yes, you can. Because it's who and what we are. And it's just a moment. It's just a moment. It's just a choice. Where instead of just going along with the status quo, doing things unconsciously, just like we always do, it actually takes you to be present. It actually takes awareness. But you know what the beautiful thing is? Is we can start it right away. I don't care if you're 85 or if you're 8. I don't care. You can change right here, right now. You can put on those set of glasses, those lenses, those love lenses, and you can start looking through them. You can walk into a situation, and I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how long it's been going on. I don't care who the players are. It doesn't matter. Why? Because the minute you start to remember who and what you are, by having this awareness and starting to bring it into yourself and start playing with that and start practicing it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time, a little bit here, a little bit there, give it some momentum, let it kind of get going. When you start playing with it, guess what? It gets to be really, really fun. It really does. It can make a tremendous difference in everything that's going on in your life. Everything. And that's what we do here. We come together, we support each other, we pray for each other, we heal, and we make a difference. And that's what we do. And that's what this thing is all about. So remember, you can feel it. You know when you're using it, and you know when you're not. You can feel it. Start paying attention to the way that you feel. Those feelings are there for a reason. It's kind of like the true north. It's kind of a compass. It just kind of tells you, where am I at? What's going on? What's happening? What's going on? So again, Fillmore calls it the love current. And he actually has a prayer. And that's what Leah did during the meditation. It's really simple. You just ask, divine love, manifest yourself in me. It's so simple. What are you doing? You're connecting with your divinity. You're connecting with Source, God, the divine, whatever you want to call it. I'm not wrapped up to do it, and I got a little secret for you. Either is it. Either is God. Either is Source. Either is the divine. Trust me, when you experience that moment, when you connect with it, it's not going to worry about what you called it. I promise you. I promise you. Anytime somebody has had one of those moments, they didn't come back saying, oh, they said we have to use this name. That's not what happens. That is not what happens. There's a connection, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is real. I don't need anybody to sit there and tell me what just happened. And trust me, when you start connecting with your divinity, you're not going to need anybody else, including me, telling you how to do it, what to call it, what it looks like, what it feels like, or anything else like that. You know why? Because you'll know. And at that point in time, you don't need anything else. You don't. Why? Because you're connected with your divinity. You're connected with Source. It's such a sacred journey that we're on. All of us, every single person that's sitting here is on the sacred journey of trying to remember who and what we are. And remember this thing called our divinity. And remember this connection. The thing that keeps tapping every single one of us on the shoulder and saying, I'm still here. I'm still here. It's whispering in our ear and it's saying, I'm still here. Do you remember? Do you remember? Do you remember? And it's not saying, do you remember me? It's saying, do you remember you? Do you remember who and what you are? Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget who and what you are, ever. No matter what anybody has told you. You are divine in pure form. We came here. Before we came here, we were connected with Spirit. We came down here to figure out a few things. I always say this. We're all trying to figure out a few things. And guess what? When we leave here, we're going back. Great big party. Going to have a really good time. We're going back. But in the meantime, we're down here just trying to figure it out. And if we could just acknowledge that peace in each and every one of us, if we could just remember, namaste, the divinity in me acknowledges divinity in you. Just think about what a different world this would be, right? I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you believe. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I don't care. We're all the same. That's the most important thing. Do you think this world might be a little bit of a different place? Do you think maybe? Yeah, me too. So in closing, I just want to, a couple of points to remember, is that love is amazingly powerful. And the reason it's so powerful, it's because who and what you are. It's because of where you came from. We came from it. And there's a part of it that's within us. And the more we acknowledge that little part in us, by acknowledging it in other people, we change the world. Do you think the world might need a little bit of help right now? A little bit? Just a little bit? Right? Yeah, me too. You guys are amazing. You're beautiful. I just want to acknowledge divinity in everybody here or anybody that's watching this. Don't ever forget who you are, ever. No matter what anybody has told you. You are beautiful. You are bright. You are light. You can change the world. And I don't care where you're sitting right now. I don't care if you're on top of the world or maybe you're struggling. It's okay. It's okay. That's part of the gig. That's part of being down here. You're still divine. Don't let your struggle try to convince you you're not divine. Ever. But that's what happens is we think, well, I'm struggling, so I obviously am not doing this thing perfect, so I guess I'm not divine. You know what that is. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So don't ever forget who you are. Don't ever forget where you came from. Don't ever forget who you could be and who you are in terms of using this amazing thing called love. You're beautiful. Thank you.